Hey guys, you are watching The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, back by popular demand. We're going back to that same review format, and tonight we're going to be discussing Sanju. Just got back from the movie theater, watched it in a tiny little independent theater in Encino, California. We were the only non-Indians in the theater. It was pretty fun.
The showing after us, the line was out the door.
Oh yeah, there was a line. There was only like 30 people, but it was still.
That's out the door.
For that theater, yeah. So the movie is about Sanjay Dutt's life, or it's supposed to be a biopic about Sanjay Dutt, and we go through him as a young man, as a middle-aged man, and then now like wherever he's at now, like in his 50s or whatever. And so who wants to start? Let's talk about the good. Let's talk about the good parts of this movie.
Go ahead.
Production value was great. I thought the production value was good for the most part. Everything looked like it was shot on location. I didn't really feel like anything was green screen. I mean, a lot of times they were like, "This is California," and it was like, it's clearly not California.
Nowhere.
Yeah.
But California's not 1,500 miles from New York.
No, it's
so
not. That was a little. This movie was not made for us. We'll get to that later. But production value, I liked. Cinematography was fine. I didn't mind the cinematography.
Performance?
We're not there yet.
Okay.
Not going in my good. It's definitely not going in my good. Just the overall look of the movie looked fine. I like the way the movie looked.
Technical.
On the technical aspects, I was good with the movie. I was like, everything looked nice. It looked high budget. It looked like they put money into it.
I like the way they did the newspaper bit. The whole news, that whole thematic of like, here's a headline, and people read into the headlines right away. It's super relevant today.
Right.
We'll get into his story later,
Yeah.
but I feel like that through line, that
Absolutely.
part of the story worked for me like all the way through, because you could substitute his name for anyone who's been accused of things they may or may not commit.
Right.
It doesn't, like, there's a line that literally says it takes courts years to figure this shit out, but people just ingest it on the news within seconds and they already have a verdict.
Absolutely.
They can already judge.
Just because they're getting headlines, and we're seeing it now. The court of public opinion in the U.S. is
the Me Too movement. Not to say that there's not credible things, but it's a real thing.
I liked that they didn't use any actual pictures of the real Sanjay Dutt. Like all the family pictures, everything. You know, sometimes you do biopics and they put like the real pictures in.
It was him.
It was
I actually liked the opposite.
Oh, you like when they put the real pictures in, and then you realize that the actor looks nothing like.
Well, no, I'm saying like to base those pictures off of real pictures.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying if they recreated the picture
to put the actual actor. Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, they recreated the pictures. Like
I thought you meant like any historical photos.
Everything was pretty consistent in that regard for me, and performance-wise, I'm gonna say I liked the dad. I thought the dad was pretty good. We got a fucking biker rally outside right now. It sounded like it's like on top
ceiling.
of us, man.
It's fucking the dude. It's OMG. It's Krishna. He's coming down.
Yeah. Well, I started with good, so let's go with the bad.
Well, I don't know. I feel like my bads are kind of uglies. Like, I feel like this might just be a long bad/ugly
Well,
thing.
for me, if we're going to talk about bad, the tone of the movie was just very inconsistent, and it jumped all over the place.
It's an ugly for me too.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe this is the negative part of the review, because I feel like
we just combine ugly and bad and ugly,
and you kind of figure out which is which based on how much we shit talk it. Because right off the bat, I think it was a bad movie. I think it was definitely bad. It was a bad movie.
We actually talked about leaving
multiple times throughout the movie, and
because we knew like the story wasn't going anywhere, and we like at a certain point you're like, okay,
just end. Just like I checked my phone 3 times throughout the thing, and I don't do that, and I was like, oh man, we still have an hour left.
And this goes back to what I said, like. This movie was not made for us.
Well, see, hold on. I want to disagree with that. But
the reason why I say the movie's not made for us is because they brought things up in the movie I feel like that people know about. Like, if you already were familiar with his life, then
and some moments
they didn't have to explain it to you.
And the audience
this movie was not made for people who have no idea who this guy is.
See, now that's where I'm going to disagree. Well, finish your point,
And this
then
is
I'll
and this is
interrupt.
going by like the reactions of other people in the theater where they were like laughing about stuff and they were like, oh yeah, remember that? Like they were remembering, like they were a part of it.
Just like even the father bits, like
Yeah.
at the beginning, like the father directing the movie, and they're like, oh, they get like this
that movie,
shot
and they're
or
like
whatever.
excited because they're like recreating this movie.
But I don't think that's accurate because I think that's a crutch. Because the movie should be good regardless of whether or not we know the person or not. And I would argue that a lot of what's going on in his life, or at least what was put on the screen, I feel like there's chunks missing. I feel like I was just all over the place. So I feel like that's not 100% accurate. Because let's take everything at face value and let's just say everything that was in the movie was true. Well, if it's true, it's uninteresting. It's boring. It's shitty. Them in the club with the girls and the let's do the coke and the, come on, that's so unbelievable. I can't believe any of that. Are you gonna tell me that they broke into song and dance like that moment and you literally turned to me and you're like, yeah, I don't think that happened.
Right.
And I know that's the Bollywood aspect, but let's be real here. It's a biopic. I'm supposed to believe
the cocaine made him. Well, that was
him. Every single drug experience was so fake and bullshit.
Well, the
like,
acid was actually pretty accurate.
well, I'm talking about him smoking pot and being so high that he sold the penguin necklace off pot.
They were trying to say he was a dope fiend doing everything. You know, we have that thing where he checks into the
Okay, but you're showing him smoking out of a bong. So I don't care. I'm just saying, show that. There's one scene with the needle in it. Is it a rating thing? Because if he was constantly on fucking the needle, like every time we saw it, like Requiem for a Dream, like fucking Goodfellas, like these serious movies where they have serious problems on it, they're doing it every time.
Yeah.
He did it. Oh, let's just show it. I literally said this is like Dewey Cox. I'm going to show a clip of Dewey Cox right now. And then, but anyway, my point is, it was like that. Don't do this, Sanjay. Don't do this drug. Oh, what is this drug? And he does the cocaine. What is this? Acid tablet? Oh, forget everything. And he does the acid tablet.
Get out of here, Dewey.
What are y'all doing in here?
It's called cocaine, and you don't want no part of this shit.
Cocaine? What's it do?
It turns all your bad feelings into good feelings. It's a nightmare.
But there was at least two scenes like that. I mean, the casting of his friend, the Borat dude, like fucking Sacha Baron Cohen was so fucking distracting.
Yeah.
Like it was so bad with
Sacha Baron Cohen with a huge lisp
and a mustache.
and even named weird faces where it's like.
But I mean, it just didn't add up to anything. It was forced. It was just
I
not a
didn't
good
know
story.
That Indians had like such Jewish-looking people because that dude was a Jew and a half. He looked like he was straight out of Israel.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah,
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just, I feel like there's a story there that could have been told in a better way. Felt like
it wasn't. It wasn't a biopic. It was advertised as a biopic, and it wasn't a biopic. It was basically, it had little sprinklings. It had like his drug problem when he was younger, and then the rest of the film was centered around the bombing that happened and the attacks that happened in 1993. I'm assuming this is the same attacks that
it is Black Friday. Yeah.
Black Friday. And it just kept going back to that. And then, I got lost a little bit. I'm sure it was in the movie, but I got lost where it was like he got arrested in 93, did over a year in jail while they were working on getting him bail without a trial. And then over 20 years later is when he's going to prison for real.
That's a huge gap of missing
it was
time.
a huge gap, and everything that happened in between, and it was like I was lost a lot of the time because I didn't know where they were at. You could go by the haircut, obviously, but some of the haircut was like, one haircut he had his long hair, and the next haircut was a little shorter, but he still looked kind of the same. And the dad didn't age at all; he looked exactly the same through the entire.
He had a cane.
He got a cane. That was
point.
about it, but. But the only person that looked different at all throughout the movie was his best friend. They put a little shock of gray hair in
the skunk
in his bang.
I'm just saying, man, it's just, I don't want to, look, we've seen 3 movies by this director. Both agree 3 Idiots was great. It's a good film all around. PK was a lesser, it wasn't the same. For me, I don't know what we rated it at, 7 probably. And this is an even lesser film. So it's like
it's going down. He's trending downwards.
It makes me wonder.
Also, the Amir Khan was in 2 of them, and then.
Well, apparently, so I read up on it. Apparently, he was offered to play the father, and he was filming Dongal, so he said no. But he said if he offered me Sanjay Dutt's role, then we might talk because he's the only character I'd want to play.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if it would have been a better movie. I don't know,
And
whatever.
that's the thing, I don't. What's the guy's name? Is it Ranbir Kapoor?
Yeah, the main actor.
Yeah, we haven't seen a movie with him, but we've seen trailers, and in the trailers, he plays this real goofy guy. And the 2 trailers we've watched, Barfi and
Kilfi something.
Yeah, and then Jaga Jasus, he plays a real like odd, goofy character in both these films, in the trailers, anyways. And that same. His mannerisms, the way of acting, he seemed kind of goofy in this one as well.
Well, I'm not familiar with Sanjay Dutt, so I can't. He could be 100% accurate. It could be on the nose.
It could be, but I feel like it's not.
I don't know though. I won't comment on that.
I feel like it's not. I feel like because I think when he plays young Sanjay, that was him being him at every other movie that he was in. And when he plays older Sanjay, then it's a little bit different. But just the way he kind of walks and stuff.
Like I said, that might be accurate. I really don't know.
It might be accurate, but I don't think it is. I really don't. I'm gonna go with it right now. I don't think it is. We've seen Sanjay Dutt in one movie, and he wasn't acting goofy at all. He played kind of a tough, manly guy.
He was also acting though.
Fair enough.
I'm not disagreeing with you. It's hard for me to comment on that one because I really don't know. Also, I don't want to sound stupid because what if you're wrong? And they're like, look, it is perfect. I doubt it.
If I'm wrong,
if I was going to be honest, I would have to agree with you,
Yeah.
which is why I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just pleading the fifth. But what I was going to say about the director and downward, put this movie in Kashyap's hands, okay? And I mean for that tone. This story deserved to be
gritty.
Yeah. If you're dealing with that drugs, it needs that Scorsese sprinkle on top. It needs this because, as you always say, this guy was an asshole.
Yeah.
I don't know if Sanjay Dutt is, but the character portrayed in this movie, and that's what we're talking about right now, is an asshole. He's not likable. There's no reason why there's no consequences to any of his actions, to his privilege.
He went to prison.
Is it? That's not really of all of that. I don't buy that because that's not a true punishment. Because in my opinion, guns should be legal. So like he didn't do anything to deserve that punishment, regardless. For me, that's a whole nother story. But I mean, there's no real.
I mean, he lost a few years of his life. There's a lot of street level stuff that happened in it, and it got glamorized. It got polished. Him going to the strip club, him doing cocaine, like it was all kind of like, I mean, it wasn't realistic, the cocaine usage and the drug usage in general. We mentioned that, but it was glossed over, and we didn't see him really, other than losing the Ruby girl, which was also that was just terrible. That scene was just not very good.
Well,
you never feel that moment of loss that he has, and I mean, I feel like the trailer was misleading because when he does the whole toilet seat thing around her neck, it was funny in the trailer.
I kind of thought it was funny.
I mean,
but I didn't. But see, I didn't feel as bad. Like, oh my god, because it didn't earn it. It didn't earn anything. That's my thing. It didn't earn anything, and everything was over the top and comical. Like when a funny scene about the whole like, my passion about the alcohol when he goes to the But it was hammed up by sound, like those stupid sound effects. Like, oh, I've dropped this, like some stupid shit. Like, I mean, that's not. That doesn't go with this supposed gritty fucking hard actor he's had sex with 300 women and all. I mean, basically this dude is supposed to be this glorified. He's the guy who is hanging out with gangsters. Literally, he's hanging out with gangsters.
Right.
His movie doesn't deserve these fucking hokey, childish fucking things, in my opinion.
I mean, it didn't even really address him hanging out with gangsters except for the one scene where his dad tells him, "I don't want you going to that party." That's it. We don't see any sort of other interaction with gangsters, other than.
But I'm saying that's
fake ass vehicle, the fake ass vehicle of why he started doing drugs in the first place. Like, maybe that really happened, but I feel like it was a little coincidental that
That's what I'm saying.
Sacha Baron,
you don't want to try this. Don't stay away.
I know, but then he comes back and he's like, "You're the one that's been doing this to me." Like, I doubt that. Like,
oh, the confrontation.
Yeah,
how he's been sniffing
the whole
sugar
fact
the
that
whole time.
this guy became friends with him just to get him hooked on drugs. You know what I mean? I don't know.
But
drug dealers don't really work like that.
But if he did though, let's say he did. The movie did a fucking shitty job of explaining that.
They did.
Of explaining any of those motivations, because it would have been much better to set up a little bit of this like mystery and intrigue. Like, why is he doing this? Why is he giving him drugs?
Like I said,
they didn't set up any of that shit.
It was totally inconsistent. And then, I mean, one big issue I had was, You start the movie off, it's all in Sanjay Dutt's point of view, and then all of a sudden you switch to his friends, and it's all of a sudden his friend's point of view for the movie. Like, I didn't need that. It's not.
Why the fuck were they touching each other's dicks all the time?
Well, I mean, that's neither here nor there.
No, it's not.
I slap people's dicks all the time.
Do you grab someone's?
I've never grabbed anybody's balls, but I've slapped like.
And you say my twins or whatever
we call Bangkok. These are odd little relationships in here, and it's odd. A movie, it's a biopic. You're not supposed to it's not supposed to be in the through someone else's eyes. This whole thing's supposed to be through your main protagonist's eyes. And there was definitely parts where it just changed, and all of a sudden it was, well, it's Dad's.
All of a sudden, it's a reporter's story.
A reporter's story,
which could have been a movie in and of itself.
Yeah, it could have been about her like researching and finding out the truth about him.
And that would have been a better movie potentially.
Yeah. Because
you could have been able to, I found this information back. Okay, let me go back to the hotel. Let me sit on this. Let me reflect. Because then all of a sudden the audience becomes a reporter. You can be like, oh fuck, he really did do all this shit. Well, let me think about this.
Right.
As opposed to like this pretend.
And then we need someone to write the book for me, like. Just so that everyone knows that I'm not a terrorist. Like, I don't know. There was like weird stuff like that. Maybe that's really what happened, but I just,
It's like I said, it could be 100% historically accurate.
It wasn't executed the way it needed to be executed.
There was a better way to do it,
yeah.
And this wasn't it. And I think at the end of the day, that's what's most important. Because, I mean, I don't know. I'm disappointed, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Although I will say our reactions, we both said like, I don't know if this is gonna hold up because the tone, just the trailer, the tone of the trailer
was inconsistent.
To be honest, I feel like the movie matched the trailer perfectly.
Fair enough.
Because it was just that,
yeah.
But for fucking 2.5 hours, which is just incredibly.
Yeah, there was plenty of times where I was like, okay, is this gonna be it? Let's finish it. No, let's tell you a little bit about this. Let's tell you a little bit about that. If the movie's going to focus around his court case, we didn't need to see him young doing drugs and stuff because his drug usage at the beginning of the film had nothing to do with everything else. The rest of that time, that 20-year span, that was all kind of connected to each other, but that drug use at the very beginning, which is probably where you could have shown, well, this is where he got introduced to these gangsters that he's friends with. This is that. It's.
But that's a whole. But see, the thing is, they tried it. There's 2 movies here.
Yeah.
And the director even said, there's the gun story and then there's the drug story. Pick one. Just fucking pick one. Make a sequel. Make a fucking series.
Or do a better job of doing the drug one.
I mean, you can. That's true because I can't even say to pick one because Goodfellas did fucking 20 stories in it. And I'm gonna keep bringing Goodfellas up. And for those of you who haven't seen it, I implore you to watch it. It's my favorite movie of all time when it deals, especially with subject matter like this. But even Casino and those fucking movies.
Those are biopics done right. I mean, and those are easier as well because they're easier in the sense that you don't have. Well, I guess they're not easier, but you have more creative license with those because these are people that are not well known.
And ironically,
yeah,
every gangster that's come out and been interviewed and they've said it's fucking accurate.
Right.
Like that's how it is. Like there was this.
Right.
Robert
well,
De Niro.
I mean, a lot of Goodfellas stuff was like fictionalized.
No. But I'm just saying like there's. Anyway, I guess
the way that the life is portrayed is accurate. But
with the money he had, he should have been able to make a better movie.
I agree. Do you recommend this film?
No. I'd recommend it if you were familiar with his story, and so maybe you're right. Maybe there's a lot of intricacies that I completely missed that were there. But I can tell you, me watching the movies that people recommended us probably wouldn't have helped me at all.
Right.
Because like that movie, the Mohan, whatever the BBS movie at the very end.
Yeah, Muna.
That was literally like fucking 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
So I mean, me watching a whole movie, 178 pages, so it's a 3-hour fucking movie, probably wouldn't have gave me any insight to anything. But I'm interested in reading his book though. If that's a real book, I'd like to read his book. I'm genuine because deep down I'm like I kind of want to like remake this in a better way. And I feel like I'm serious. I feel like there's something there. Something's there. Or maybe there's not. I want to read the book.
I mean, somebody felt like this story needed to be told. It just wasn't told the way it needed to be told. I mean, so there's that. And I wouldn't recommend watching it either if unless you really want to watch it. Does not get my stamp of approval. It was not fun. This definitely not fun. And
not in the sense of like, oh man, this was not fun. You go through an emotional ride. Like it was just not fun. No. You're like, why the fuck am I in this theater right now?
I never got connected to the character. I never got sucked into the movie.
Bad or good.
I spent more time looking at the time on my watch to figure out like when this was going to be over, so we can come.
And for every good moment, there was 20 bad ones.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, like when they're talking about joking about the dead guy in the hallway, and he thinks it's the dad. I thought that was funny. I thought that was funny, and then when he goes in the room and. That was also funny. Like there's little moments that definitely were funny.
No, there was definitely some stuff.
Him sleeping with his friend's girl was like
that
interesting
was
scene.
probably my favorite scene. That scene was like the best scene.
I'm protecting you.
Yeah.
She slept with me. She's a floozy.
Yeah.
Like those are. I'm saying there's little nuggets.
There's little
but
nuggets of good
as
stuff,
a whole,
yeah.
it is not
the business.
That's completely do not recommend it.
Anyways, that's gonna do it for us. Thanks for watching. You know the drill. Smash that like button. Leave comments. Let us know what you think.
Let us know how you felt about
let us know how you guys felt about the movie. Leave that in the comment section. And for those of you, I mean, I don't think we really spoiled anything. We didn't really go.
We didn't talk about the plot.
Yeah, the plot itself. So you know, I feel like you're probably already aware of the newsworthy stuff in the.
Do you feel like he was a terrorist based on the information?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I mean, if he's telling the truth, and from what we've.
Based on the movie.
They're gonna based on the movie, the way they presented it, no, not at all. He got in trouble because he wanted to protect his family, protect his dad. That's what happens.
Plus, there was no bombs.
Yeah,
so that's.
Maybe that's why they cut out all the gangster part of it, you know,
to make him to be like,
are
you sure he's not a terrorist?
To try to make him sympathetic. But anyways,
but one more thing. Sorry to interrupt.
God damn it.
Let us know if what we talked about, how you guys think he is a terrorist. Send us all those documents. At least for me, I want to read. I'm very interested in learning more about him. That's why I want to read the autobiography. So or if it is real, I'm assuming it's real. That's all I'll say. I'm done.
All right. Fuck Daniel. Anyways, thanks for watching. Make sure to check out the latest episode of Reaction Hour, which comes out tomorrow, the day after this. Thanks for watching. We will see you next time.